And good afternoon and welcome to Locked in Stitches and Julie Hall Designs. Let me just make sure that everything is coming up correctly. Okay, I can already hear that is right, which means I can then go. Hi, how are we going? Hope you're doing well today. As always, I am Julie Hall and I am here in lovely Canberra on a beautiful spring afternoon. Like, you know, we're getting great weather for Canberra here. It's 24 degrees today. I've got short sleeves on, see? So I hope you are all doing well wherever you are. Thank you for those joining us on Locked in Stitches on Facebook, and to those who are joining us on YouTube as well. Thank you for coming along. Feel free to pop in and say hello. So today we are working on month 10 of our block of the month, our Lovely Quilt. And I can see we've got Michelle Reynolds with us. Thank you for coming in today, Marble. And what I'm doing today is a little bit different because we are getting to the end. And if you're like me, you've now got a whole lot of blocks and you want to start putting it together. And that is exactly what we are going to do. So, oh, you show off. I bet it's nice and warm, a bit warmer than 24 degrees as well. So this is my block 10. These are ones that we are going to stitch in our 5 by 7 inch hoops or anything larger than 5 inches square. And you'll need 4 of those for the entire project. So I'm not going to stitch those. I'm not going to show you how I've stitched those today, simply because there's something else that I want to show you instead. And that is, I want to work on our borders. And you can see here, this is the start of my border. But before we get to the border, we've actually got to look at putting the designs together. So what I want to show you is, and hold on because I've got to come down. Okay, so what I've got here is my blocks that we'd put together last month, and that's the first quarter. What I've done is I've come through now and I've copied that first quarter, or that first top bit, and added the second side. Hold on, I've got to come through and resize that. Then you can see we've got damn it, it won't let me resize while we're doing this. Okay, so then you can see coming up, we've got our next set of blocks on there, and this is how we are going to join all of the design together. Now, I'm going to run through that again for you. Okay, so this was our first part that we had done. Then I added in the second corner, which is just a copy of the left-hand corner. Now what I'm doing is just alternating the blocks between the ones with the sashing in between and the ones without the sashing in between. So no sashing, sashing, and then no sashing again. And you can see there that this is forming that length of the quilt. Yes, exactly, Michelle. This is joined on point. Now we're going to take one of our additional blocks and 2 of the corner blocks and add those in. So that is how we are putting together the first half of the quilt. Now I want to show you what I'm doing here with the borders. because then once we get the borders up and stitching, I'm going to show you how I've actually created them on the software. So let's come over to our machine, and where are we here? So I've got my design on the machine, and this is the design that I've decided on for my border. Now, things that I want you to notice that I've done here, and I'll show you how I do it once we get to the software, but I've put 1 centimetre between those two designs. I've also left 1 centimetre up the top here. And all I did to get started was I cut an 8-inch piece of strip of fabric, and then I have put my embroiderer's felt on the back, and I've done a line of straight stitching right the way through the very center. So I've measured up where the center is with my wash away thread, and that's to make sure that I keep everything in line as I go along. So let's come through. Now, one of the things that I like about my machine, first of all, is I'm just going to make sure that I'm around about in the right place by finding the center of the hoop and lining up that stitching line with it. I can also use, and will also use, the laser light for making sure I'm in that center position as well. Now I'm going to come through, and you can see that if I started stitching here, we would be in a world of trouble because it would be over pinning. So I want to line up the laser. I'm just going to come in here and hope you guys can see that to where that point is. And then when I come across and make sure that that laser is there as well in the right point, and I'm just smoothing and centering as I go. Now, once I come back, I should see my laser here in the center position. I've got my wash away thread on, and so all I'm going to do is then come through and stitch that basting line. Now, we can tell we're centered there because the cross point is on our center line. And then we are going to start our stitching. So, how's everybody else's week been? Always good to make sure I'm using the right colour as I get down to it. And our stitching is going to start. Okay, let me just see how we're doing here. And I can see Kathy Odekerken's with us. Hi, Kathy. Lovely to see you. Okay, now So while we've got that running, what I want to do is show you how I actually got to that design. So let me come through and open up. Oh, don't you love it when that happens? Okay, so what I've got here is one of the designs that I've just brought in, and this is Lovely 6. This is number 6 design. And you can see down the side here, all of my elements are locked together. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup everything so that I can play with it. And I want to get rid of my artwork because it's distracting. So what I'm looking to do here, and what I like to do when I've got when I'm doing a border design, is I don't want this to be square. Instead, I want it to sit at that 90-degree angle. So I'm just going to rotate, and then I'm starting to think, like, I don't want it to be this wide. That's not going to work for me. I need a narrower design for my border. And you guys can do this with any design that you purchase. And let me come back there. Okay, because I wanted to say this face on. I don't want to use the word I don't care. However, I'm struggling to find other words. So when you purchase a design, you are not allowed to share it because that breaks copyright laws. You are not allowed to resell it as your own, even though you've changed one or two things about it, because again, that breaks copyright law. You are, however, allowed to open it in your software. Please do not let anybody tell you differently. Yeah, you bought this. You can go in and you can make it work for what you need it to do. Now, the downside of that is that you then lose the ability to complain to the designer when something goes wrong. So, for instance, and I can see Helen Shilton's with us. Thank you very much for joining us, Helen. For instance, if you purchase one of my lovely designs that we're using here, and you then go in and you reduce it to being, an inch tall, and you find that you get a great hulking mess, you cannot come back to me and say your design's shit, because that is on you. Once you alter the design, the designer is no longer responsible for supporting you through the use of that design. So for me, it's all about knowing our rights and our responsibilities and our abilities. But I love being able, and I was thrilled the other day when Michelle, who is here with us today, was telling me that she altered, she bought the backpack design and she went in and she changed it to what she wanted to do, because she has a much larger hoop and she wanted to use it with that. She is knowledgeable with software, and she didn't come back to me and say, well, this didn't work because the zipper is now 5 meters long. She knows that she had to make changes relevant to what she was doing. So it is all about knowing the rights and responsibilities and on each side. Okay, what I'm going to do here is just zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to take away this white bit here, and I'm going to take away this pink part on the side. So all I'm going to do is select the elements and delete them. I can go through and select multiple elements. And now I've got a slightly narrower design. And then I want to do the same thing on this side. And I'm just selecting and deleting. And one of the things that I'm thinking of sharing with you next year, and tell me what you guys think, is us looking at some projects where we go through and we use, and I know everybody has a different level of software, but going through and actually using our software and changing and customizing and looking at things that we can do. Okay, so that would be a border. Now, if I had a hoop size that was, let's see, 130 by 180, that would immediately fit straight in there. Because I'm going to be using my 280 by 460 hoop, I'm then going to come through, and to make it easy for myself, I'm going to regroup those objects. And then I'm going to start playing with placement. Now, placement comes to your own discretion. You can choose to have things as close or as far away from each other as you wish. Reason I don't come through and do a join like this is just because then I have to match that up on the next one. When I come through and give myself a centimetre, I've got that little bit more wiggle room. Now, the other thing that I like to do, because I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, is I then like to select my objects and align them. And what that means is that I get just that little bit better lining up than I would by me eyeballing it. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to get 3 designs in here. It is just not going to happen. Now, let me show you a quick view on what we've got happening. So, if I come through, I've got all that section done. We're working through the second. Okay, questions. And I can see we've got a couple here. Michelle's asking, is it best to ungroup? Yes, it is. Just because otherwise you will end up selecting more than you wanted to. Oh, and the other thing Michelle's saying, and this is great because Michelle is an expert in that FAF Husqvarna software, the endless feature. Okay, so that helps you to set the gap and adds your alignment stitches for you. Fantastic. Okay, now, and look, a lot of what I do is old school, simply because when I started out, we didn't have things like endless hoops and things like that. So I've created my own way of doing it. So now that I've got the design where I want it to be, what I want to do is come through, and in my design area, I want to add my basting stitch in. So remember, this is the free basting stitch on our website. And I don't really care what size I start off with because I'm going to manipulate it anyway. And what I'm doing, oops, days, didn't want to manipulate it that way. The undo button is a lovely, lovely thing. Okay. So what I want to do is come through, and naturally we want to make sure that our entire design is within the hoop there. But I also want, and I'll zoom in here so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So you can see that is the top of my design. It's about 1 mil over the top there. I'm going to come through and move that basting stitch a centimetre over. where the end of the design is. And that is going to allow us to space up what we are doing. And I'll show you exactly how that looks on the machine. Now, the other thing that this does is it hasn't given itself a jump stitch between those two designs. So let me come through and trim that away so that we don't stitch over it. But what I wanted to show you is you can see on that basting that the basting stitch lines up, and then you've got a centimetre before the design starts. So that's how I put that gap in there. Okay. And what have we got here? So yeah, totally all about making sure that you have it set up so that you can use it yourself. Now, what I would now be doing on this is my basting stitch is sitting on the top of everything. So now I want to come through and resequence. And I want to move my basting stitch up to the top, and then I'm going to unlock everything. Now, I could come through in my edit and say optimize all my color changes, and that changes my colors. And what have we got here? Okay. Aha, my bobbin thread is insufficient. Naturally. It's a year in, and I am still fascinated by, I love just how little bobbin the machine lets me leave. And so yes, what I've done here is I have come through and my 3 colours. The one that I'm doing is different because I wanted to show you that it can be done with a lot of different designs. The only other thing that I do want to do is show you what this would be like and why I wouldn't choose some of the designs in the Lovely collection. LMNOP, QRS, HI. Oh, Michelle, good question. So Michelle's question, if you can't see, is question for non-Janome software users. If we bring in the basting stitch and enlarge or narrow it, will it still stitch nicely? Okay, it will. You will get some editing on it, and I could have brought that in with a better. I could have brought that in with a better. I'm trying to think of the best word here. Size. So if I'd use one of the larger sizes where I'm not making it smaller or larger as much, it's that a better use of doing things. Okay, so I'm just going to Get rid of that. And this is one that I would not use. And I'll show you exactly why. So if I go through and rotate that, so even if I take out those stitches, see how I'm left with sort of blank space. So that wouldn't be a great one to use unless you wanted a narrow border and you only wanted to go with the teardrops. So it's really playing around and seeing what works for you. Okay. And let's come back to our machine here. So in that case, Michelle, I would use the basting in your own software. It's just that diagonal basting is just so bloody good. And I must say, I'm very impressed at the pink and green together and just how popping that is. Now, I had considered when I was playing with this on measuring and making sure that the centre design was right in the centre of the this and that and the other and all of that. But then it got to the point that I was playing with both sort of the top and the sides are obviously different sizes because the quilt is different sizes. So because of that, I've decided to use this as a continuous strip of border and just acknowledge that there'll be a cut in between. And I'm okay with that. And it doesn't matter how many times I do it, I am still impressed with how beautiful candlewicking stitches out. Okay. Trying to think of what else I've been working on this week. I did put up a post, but I haven't got to stitch it out yet. I cannot wait to show you. Let me bring it out. So this is one of those things that I've done whilst when I did the boutique series last year. And I absolutely love it. And I've never really found the right thing to use it for. It kind of was too small to go in one of the blocks, but it was a tough one. But kind of looks perfect on my lunchbox. And one of the things that I really love about it, I just come in, is the shadow effect that I've got there with that word coffee. So I'm thinking that is going to be my sort of test stitch and play this week. But young Edward and I planned this week. Oh, did you guys see, when I'm saying young Edward, did you guys see, I'm a little bit upset today. Pure 90s nostalgia. Matthew Perry has passed away. I just thought that was a horrible one. So that was a bit of a bummer one for this afternoon. And now let me just see if I can do this correctly. I don't know that it's going to, no, it's not going to let me, okay. I was going to say, for all of those who see and, you know, question whether I use anything that I make, I've got a great, I just got this week my new sunglasses. So because I've got prescription glasses, I obviously need prescription sunnies as well. And I've managed to get, so now my handbag has on it the In the Hoop sunglasses holder, because, you know, first week out with sunglasses, and what is already annoying me is the need to run back to the car because I've accidentally left the sunglasses on. Okay, and we'll continue with that. So, where are we? So, life's been changing a little. And life's supposed to change. And the crafting industry has changed so much as well. Everything has fits and spurts. But what I want to do is continue making sure that I am always being relevant and sharing interesting stuff with you. So one of the things that I've noticed this year seems to be that more people are using their software or are looking into getting software for their machines. One of the things that I personally have learned is that for me, less is more. And I've been spending too much time trying to keep up with other digitizers, for lack of a better thing, than in doing my own thing. So I'm looking at just how I can change to be a better person next year, including being a better, offering better stuff that we're all going to use and need. One of the things that I'm thinking with that is possibly going a little bit more into A, the software side, and B, doing more possibly with sewing as well as our embroidery. So I would love to know the feedback from you guys on that. And part of it is because In the Hoop is fantastic and I love a good In the Hoop project, but we're also always going to be limited by the size of our hoop. And I think there are techniques and things that can make us better sewers, particularly for those who like to sell what they sew as well. So all just different things that I'm looking at for next year. And I would love your guys' feedback, whether it be on here or whether it be personally to me, on what you would love to see as well. Okay. So you can see that this is a different design than what we just showed, and that's because I wanted to show you how you could do more than a single type of design. Now we're less than, how many days till Christmas? I know it's less than 60 days until calculator. 57 days to Christmas. Do you all have your lists ready? One of the things on my list is like I bought myself, and I was very, very proud of it, and I showed you all pickies as I bought it, a digital tablet, a drawing tablet, and I loved it, but it was just too large. So I ended up selling mine to Grace. And then, and I haven't replaced it. So I'm thinking between my birthday and Christmas, a digital tablet might be on my list of things that a loving husband could give his wife. Oh, I do like what you think, Michelle Reynolds. Very nice. So yes, what I've learned is I don't need anything larger than sort of a laptop screen as a digital tablet. And look, I've ummed and ahed. I love my magnetic hoop for quilting. I've been umming and ahhing around the dime one for regular sewing. And I don't know, I don't know whether it's because I feel then mean to my current, to the way I regularly stitch or what. But yeah, I don't know about that one. There was something else sewing wise that I was thinking around as well, and I think I'd seen it. If I find it again, I'll post it, because I thought it was such a good idea that somebody had of things to sort of gift for sewers. Naturally, you've got designs, you've got projects. Think of all of our gadgety darling stuff. And quite honestly, when when we had Mum around, and Mum had probably 3 major local shops that she would go to. Leanne and I would divvy it up and we would each get her a gift card to one of those shops, and that would pay for her classes for the next year. And it was, it was kind of good for everybody. That was always a great one. It was great for the shop because they got mum's business. But yeah, when your kids are talking to you about what you want, even the quilting kit, like, if you want to give machine embroidered quilting a go, get one of the kids to give you the 4-pack of magnets, get another one to give you the gun, and another one to give you the Incredi tape and the marking pen. Oh wow, oh Michelle, your kids are doing nicely for you this year. It's all about finding what they need. I mean, my beautiful father, he's been telling us, oh, don't buy us anything. And we're like, yeah, that's all nice. But, my sister and I mean, she's just put on, she's just put security cameras in the house last week. And mind you, we're keeping them off. Our deal is that we, don't think that we're totally horrible daughters. We're turning them off. It's only when he goes away that we are turning them on. And then we are doing, like I'm buying him the subscription to Hey You or whatever he can use for sports, so he can watch his footy and his cricket on his new television. Okay, and I'm loving how this is looking. Now, the reason I've cut this as 8 inches wide is simply because I want to be able to, so I know that my design, when I break it down, is 6 inches. So I've made this 8 inches so that I can quilt it nice and easily and then trim it down to the correct size. I'm happy with losing an inch on either side. If you're not happy with that, that's absolutely fine. Just cut it shorter. So 2 things that I've got planned, hopefully coming up this in the next week or 2. I'm working on a little manicure set to hold, like, the snips, the emery board, etc., and so forth, which will be an in the hooper. And then the other one that I'm looking at is a different coffee cup carrier that is specifically so that I can carry my coffee cup in with me to the shops and lock it around the shopping trolley. I know it sounds weird and I don't know how to explain it. Currently it's in my mind. I'm hoping to be able to take it out of my mind and place it somewhere else. What about everybody else? What is everybody else working on for their Christmas stitching, for their for other projects that they're playing with? Remember this week, let me just come back here. Okay, so this week, remember we are going to do beach bags. And this is beach bag that I did the other day. Loving. And I've done it with 2 spools of thread. And I just got one in black, one in white. And I've got a couple of spools of thread that I probably don't have enough for a single project. So I'm going to end up with some rainbow monstrosity, I'm thinking, just to get things used up. What I love is I've taken the pocket just off a pair of pants, embroidered it, and then used it as my beach bag pocket, and loving how that has worked. So that is going to be, and I'm going to show it in a couple of different ways, and how to think about using the whole rope bowl concept for whatever you want. So this was the other project that I'd started with, and how small does that look when we get it against that? It will be larger, the one that I'm going to work on. I'm going to show you how to take that same circular idea and create your own project. And I might even use a cork inner, but then I'm going to show you how I've lined it as well. So that is what we're going to be working on next week. And let's come back and just have a look here. And then we've only got a couple of weeks till we are finished for the year. So we've got our blocks of the month to finish off. And then we're going to do a Santa stocking as well. And I'll show you my completed Santa stockings in a moment. Oh, Mark's Crosby's with us. Hi, Mark. How you doing? I heard whispers that you had a lovely retreat out your area. It's funny, when it comes to this time of the year, it's almost that you almost get that sort of reflective thing of, okay, so what was this year? What did I get done? What didn't I get done? What should have I done? I don't like to, dwell too much on what should have I got done. Nothing in that way is ever going to end well. But, when I break my year down, Edward and I managed to spend a month together without killing each other, so yay us. I have now achieved, well, by the end of the year, I will have achieved 3 high school educated children working towards being in roles that contribute to society. And, fully formed adults. So, I'll take that as a positive. What else have I managed this year? I haven't put on all the weight that I lost. I'll take the positive for that. Would have been nice if I'd lost double, but I didn't commit murder even when that horrible little niece stole off Dad. Considered it the second time when I found the bong water under the bed, but And Marks, how fascinating is it? How quick the crafting gossip network happens. And it's one of those interesting things. Like, gossip sounds like such a negative word, but I really didn't mean it in that way. So please forgive me if you took offence at that. I meant it in the nicest way of, you know, this crafter knows that crafter who shares information with this crafter. And again, I'm just going to then stop that to go to trim that away. What I find amazing is Queensland can be such a huge place, and yet everybody knows everybody. That always just amazes me. Okay, now the other thing I need the Brains Trust for. I have started a little bit of part-time work, and I heard that the vinyls there were phenomenal, so that's fantastic. I need a good Secret Santa present, and I'm thinking I should probably craft it. So if someone's got some ideas, I would love to hear them. Okay, so that's kind of what we're doing today. You can see how the border comes together and how much the basting stitch plays in what we're doing. Oops-a-days. Okay, so I won't bore you with finishing that one off, ladies. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I do hope you've all got something out of that one. I will put the design up on Locked in Stitches for you to download if you want to use that as your border. But please do feel free to go through and have a play and see what you can use yourself. So until next week, have a stitching day, guys. Bye.